This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to your Friday edition here of the afternoon show, of course, on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. I'll be your host and producer for today's show, Logan Landers, and joining me, as always, is Tony and Chris Gonzalez. Tony, we'll start with you. How have you been? And, boy, what a past 24 hours it's been since our last show, huh?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Had some good college football. Of course, the big trade with the Cowboys in Green Bay. And, my Reds were off, but they're 4.5 back now, so we're hoping they can get things turned around tonight. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to a good weekend. I'm really excited for the big college football games tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And Chris, just a little behind-the-scenes look here. You said you're watching one of the diehards. I have to know, is it, in your opinion, is it a Christmas movie?
I've never really looked at it like that, but I would say, yeah, it's a Christmas movie.
Okay, there we go.
I think everybody watches, at least everybody watches on Christmas, so I think that qualifies for a Christmas movie.
That's just an ongoing debate that will never end, you know? Look, it's based around the Christmas time.
Yeah.
There's, there's gags in there involving gifts and whatnot, and the gifts becoming bombs or explosives and everything. But you don't think of warm and wholesome, nestled up by the fireplace, watching Die Hard. You don't think of that. There's no snow falling and the couples at the end and everything. No, complete polar opposite of that. But just a great franchise nonetheless. But before we get started, before we talk about all the just kind of craziness going on in the sports world here in the last 24 hours, and also, of course, previewing the weekends, our Friday show, and also Mondays is Labor Day, so we'll be off for that one as well, taking the day off, enjoying our day. If you enjoy the show, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're live, of course, everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, etc., etc. You can find our channels as well as the rest of our great shows here on the network at our link tree in the description. Just tap on it, click on any of the social medias you feel like, and just keep scrolling. Just scroll on up and down, and you'll find a ton of great content, not just from us here, but for everyone here on the network and all of their respective platforms individually. Well, kind of hurts here, guys. Jay is not here today. Jay McLovin, of course, our resident Cowboys fan, not here on the show, and that is just a shame because his team is the talk of the town right now, the Dallas Cowboys. After our show yesterday, the news broke that the Dallas Cowboys traded 4-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Micah Parsons, or Michael, if you heard Jerry Jones at his press conference, to the Green Bay Packers in exchange for 3-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark, as well as 2 first-round draft picks, those being in 2026 and 27. I mean, we heard all offseason it was, we're going to sign Micah. We're going to bring him back. He's going to be a Cowboy forever. And then we heard, Jerry doesn't want to go through my agent. I don't appreciate that. And, of course, we saw their last preseason game. Micah was taking a little bit of a cat nap on the side there and just relaxing. Boy, what a bitter end to that kind of relationship, it feels like. Whenever he was drafted out of Penn State, you had all the hype in the world around him. He's done great over there in Dallas, put up great seasons. And you never like to see teams kind of and players in, especially star players in this fashion. But look, ultimately, they just could not meet anywhere in terms of a contract. Initial kind of reports after the fact now that seems like Jerry tried to offer him a 5-year deal for around $202 million, give or take. But the agent wasn't in question, which that was a big factor for Micah with his contract negotiations and why he didn't sign earlier in the offseason. And that raised some red flags for him. So we'll talk about both sides of the coin here, but let's just talk with Dallas, obviously, because a lot of the talk is around them. You trade away one of your best really one of your best players on the team, offensive or defensive. And in exchange, you get Kenny Clark, who is a proven veteran, right? He's been around the league for some time, but he's put up some good numbers. Still solid, right? A little bit older in the tooth, but it is what it is. But a lot of people were focusing on obviously the first round draft picks for next year, as well as the year after that, to hopefully look and hopefully you can draft someone or couple that with another trade. You never know, to get your team even better and better. But Tony, we'll start with you. Just your initial thoughts whenever you saw the news ticker go across the screen that Micah Parsons is no longer a Dallas Cowboy.
I was shocked. I mean, I know there was reports of it possibly happening earlier in the morning. I was watching McAfee and stuff, so there was reports out there. But I didn't think that Dallas would do it. I thought they'd get it worked out with Parsons. I'm wondering if it's going to be a good move. Definitely a good move for Green Bay, no doubt. If it's going to be how it's going to work out for Dallas. I mean, I know they got those draft picks, but a lot of that depends on where they are at the draft. So they'll have 2 picks in the first round next year and 2 picks in 2027. But I don't know what those picks are going to be, so it's kind of hard to judge. And now I did see in a press conference that Jerry said that don't mean that they couldn't trade these picks and get some and make a trade and try to bring somebody in. I think he's trying to cover his butt. Do you guys think? Let me ask you: do you think they got enough for him? Do you think they got enough in return?
Chris, I'll have you answer first with this.
I think they got all they were going to get this time. I think where they messed up, if they were going to trade him, excuse me, they were going to trade him. They should have traded him back in April, around before the draft or around draft time. Not only would you have been able to help your team maybe this year, because you might have been able to get draft picks for this year's draft, but if you do it then, there's more teams would have been involved. You had a better chance of getting more for them than what you got. I mean, they got a pretty good, I think pretty good deal for him. I mean, you're getting 2 first-round picks and you're getting a 3-time Pro Bowler, a guy that's proven. But I think they could have probably got another pick or maybe even another player because more teams would have been involved and they would have had a little more leverage. This late, a lot of teams already have their roster set. A lot of them don't have a salary cap room to be able to bring a guy in like Parsons where you have to sign him to that big extension. I mean, because Green Bay signed him to that big $188 million deal before the trade went through. That was one of the things with Green Bay. One of their conditions was if we're going to do this trade, we got to know that he's going to sign with us. We're not giving up 2 first-round picks and this player for a rental. So, but far as with Jerry and Parsons, I kind of thought that I figured they'd get it worked out because I mean, this is what Dallas always does. They always sign their guy. Jerry always signs the guys usually a week before the game or a couple days before the game, or hell, Dak Prescott signed his big extension like a couple hours before the game or something like that last year. So I figured they'd get it worked out. I think came down to Jerry felt like he was disrespected, whether Jerry is right or wrong. But in his head, they had a deal made, and Parsons backed out on it, and I think Jerry kind of felt betrayed on that some, and I don't think Jerry could get over that fact. And I just think if they were going to trade him, they should have done it sooner. I don't have a big problem with trading him. I mean, if you're going to trade him and you think you can get a good haul to help your team get better, I don't have a big problem with that. It's just the timing. If you were going to do this, you should have done this months ago when free agency first started, and then, like I said, there'd be more competition, more teams after him, because there's going to be a lot of teams in the mix to try to get Parsons, especially if it's at the beginning of free agency. So I think that's where they really messed up. Is if you were going to trade him, you should have done it a few months ago.
Yeah, that's also a lot of criticism I saw with this trade is that, man, this happened a week before the actual NFL season kicks off. So, and Chris, you mentioned it, and thank you for that Micah did sign a deal with Green Bay that makes him now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. 4-year deal, $188 million with Green Bay, $136 million in total guarantees, $120 of that at signing. So he got his money. And then some. I saw he said he got the money. He's going to retire his mom, so great for that. But let's talk about Green Bay now. And where does this put them on top in the NFC North? Does this kind of solidify them now that they bring Micah over? In addition to all the other good pieces they have in that program, does it put them above? Really, I mean, Detroit is the be-all, end-all in the North at the moment. You also have Minnesota's on a bit of a rebuild, and we know that with the way that they're looking in, like I said, I think Green Bay's got a good chance. And is this going to be enough? This big splash here to put them over the top, above teams like Minnesota and Chicago, who a lot of people have a lot of hope for, but nothing's been proven yet on the field. And Chris, we'll go to you first.
I think it definitely makes them better. I don't know if it's going to get them over that hump and get them on a Super Bowl run. Might not. I think it'll help them compete for their division. I still think Detroit's going to be a pretty good team this year. I know you have questions. There's questions with Detroit. They got new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, so that's always a question when you have that much change on your coaching staff. But, I think Dan Campbell knows what he's doing over there, and I don't think they'll fall back too much. But we've seen it happen with teams. I mean, look what happened to the Eagles that one year when they first had to change their coordinators, and then the next year they get back to the Super Bowl. So it'll be interesting there. My only thing with Green Bay, I think it does make them better, is I'm still not 100% sure on Jordan Love. He had the one year, first year he looked pretty good. Last year he didn't look too bad. But he got hurt and then he struggled some. He didn't look as good as he did the year before. Some of that, I will say, is probably his receivers, because they dropped a lot of passes last year. Green Bay did too, so I can't put it all on Love. But I still think he kind of is still proving himself a little bit. I mean, he got paid, but you got the money. Now you need to get to the playoffs and win a playoff game and all that good stuff. But I think it helps. I think it does help him. I mean, you have to have a pass rusher, and if you look, Green Bay hasn't had that consistent pass rusher, and this will help free up Gary on that line as well. So I think it's a smart move by Green Bay. Kind of out of character for them. You don't see them really go spend money like this and go after a big free agent, make a big trade like this. I mean, hell, they hadn't drafted an offensive weapon in the first round for like 20-something years until this year. So it seems like with this new team president, this policy, they're being a little more aggressive than what they were under Murphy.
And good points all around there, Chris. But Tony, kicking it to you now. I mean, when you look at Green Bay, like I said, they got some good pieces, right? We think that if they're not going to win the North, then they are going to be competitive, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to be a wild card team. If worse comes to worse for the team, right? But with just a week before the season kicks off, do you think that Micah, who, like I say, he's not a rookie or anything, he's been around the league for a handful of years, so he knows how the league goes and whatnot. But do you think he's going to struggle for the first couple of weeks as he gets adjusted to really everything brand new? It's not just, the playbook and everything like that. It's, you have to go to the stadium a different way. It's a brand new place. You have to find somewhere to live. So do you think that he maybe gets off to a slow start here? Let's just say first 3 to 4 weeks in Green Bay. Because look, if he does, then there's going to be just everyone either on Twitter or in the stadium, because we know Green Bay doesn't mess around. The fans out there are dedicated, love them or hate them. But do you think that he might stumble out of the box early on, just with everything going on so kind of on short notice, like the way it is?
I think it's possible, but also I think he's going to be on a big high. And I think he's going to be excited and ready to play. I know it's interesting that, Jerry Jones had said that now he's saying he was a cancer to the team. And he wasn't a perfect teammate. I mean, he wasn't, but he was a very talented teammate. And so we all know how that goes. If you're talented enough, that they'll put up with some stuff. I think he'll be fine. I think that it'll be a little bit of adjustment, but I think he'll fit right in there in Green Bay and play well. My problem with Green Bay, I just don't know about their offense being good enough to make a Super Bowl run. I definitely think they're now in the hunt for the division, for sure. But I don't know if they're a good enough team, even with him, unless they think that our offense may not be the best offense, but our defense now can help carry our offense a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see, but it definitely makes Green Bay better. I think it was a good move.
Yeah, real quick before we kind of move on from this topic here, I pulled up the depth chart. We'll do on the offense, like you mentioned here, Tony. Just look at all the weapons that they have. Obviously, we know Jordan Love is going to be a guy up front for the quarterback. Your running back room is Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson currently as the backup running back. For the wide receivers, you have a mix of characters such as Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, who they just drafted out of the University of Texas, I believe, Romeo Dobbs, as well as Savion Williams, Malik Heath, and Dontavion Wicks. And for your tight end position, you have Tucker Kraft, who is a good player, and Luke Musgrave is your first and second string guys. So I think it's going to be they're not going to be a top 5 offense, I don't believe. But I think that they're relying on their defense to kind of do most of the hard work this season in the offense. You know what I mean? If the offense can score, let's just say 24, 28 points, hey, if your defense can hold them to that much, you have a good chance of winning a lot of ball games. And I mean, obviously, if you add Micah to the team, Chris, you mentioned they got Rashawn Gary at the defensive end, who's a good young player. They also have Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker as well. They've got Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, Nate Hobbs, Javon Bullard. I mean, it's a solid defense all in all. I mean, obviously, with the additions of Parsons, their defense is now ahead of their offense for me personally, and I think a lot of people will agree on that. But their offense isn't a slouch by any means. It's just still, like you said, guys, they dropped a lot of passes last year, but hopefully, that's something you can work on if you're a player. You can just go out there with catching the balls from the machine for an hour a day, and that'll help solve that issue for a lot of it. But for Dallas, we'll see. But for Green Bay, I think that I think they come out the winners on this one. Go ahead, Chris.
And for Green Bay as well, they also a couple of their receivers are hurt, so they're kind of thin right now at the wide receiver position going into the start of the season, and until they get those guys back. They got a couple of the receivers are banged up, so they're really dependent on the Golden to have a big rookie year. They think they're dependent on him to be their number one receiver this year. So I think a lot of their success on offense is going to be how big of a rookie season does he have. I think that's going to tell a lot about their offense, especially with a couple of these guys are hurt.
Let me ask you guys, do you think, I mean, Jerry's come out and said, of course he's going to say this, I understand he's going to put a spin on it, that he thinks this is going to help make Dallas a better team over the next 2 or 3 or 4 years. And that's possible. I mean, I can't say that couldn't happen if they get the right draft picks, if they get to pick the right guys, or even if they end up making a trade or move up. What do you guys think? Do you think Dallas is in a position that they can make their team better, even without Parsons? Maybe, I'm not saying maybe this year, but for the future with these picks and the things that they could do with them. Do you think Dallas is in a position to make their team better overall?
It's a tough call, I'll say, obviously, because like I said, we don't know how these draft picks, what they're going to be, how they're going to pan out, so on and so forth, right? So that's tough. But just kind of looking at, let's just say, the structure of the team now, the core players and everything, as well as, how you think they'll do this season and years beyond, depending on, how the guys progress. I mean, Dak Prescott's been there for a number of years now. I think close to 10 years, if not 10 years already. And he's going to be there for, like you said, like we mentioned earlier, he signed that contract for the season last year, I believe. So he'll be there for a little bit longer. Hopefully as your star quarterback. You said 2 more years? Okay, yeah, 2 more years. So, I mean, you're hoping, like I said, that runs through the end of those draft picks as well. So you have, realistically, I would say a 2-year window here, guys. If you're Dallas, that if you want the picks, if you want the current core you got right with, of course, you got rid of Micah Parsons, so he's gone. You got Dak Prescott. You got, who was the receiver they picked up this past offseason?
Pickens.
Thank you, Pickens. And did they get DK Metcalf, or he goes? No, he went to Pittsburgh.
But they have CeeDee Lamb on
CD. Yep, CeeDee, of course, who they signed last year as well, I believe. And the running back room, like I said, it was a little bit off. It was a little bit, it was towards the bottom of the league last year. They're hoping they'll pick that up this year. As well as obviously we know, a lot of their core players on defense. So I think they're still, look, Dallas is going to be bad. I don't think they're going to be an awful team. We know, the record they had last year, they had a lot of injuries and whatnot. And they just, some of the games they just weren't that competitive. But I think that they're going to be a solid team this year. And as for, the years on, like year or two, we'll say just these draft picks they got, with the addition of Kenny Clark, who's 29, I believe, going on 30, still productive player, right? But I think they're still going to be in a competitive kind of win now mode. But guys, I don't know. If you're a free agent now and you kind of see how all this played out, are you a little bit iffy if you're wanting to go to Dallas maybe next offseason, or do you think, screw it, Gerald, give me a lot of money, I don't care?
He's paid players, and I don't think it sounds like he was willing to pay Parsons. It was just a deal where he didn't want to deal with the agent because I think Jerry's a little crazy. But why is a player going to hire an agent and then not use them? But that's just kind of Jerry's way. And but yeah, a lot of guys that got paid there. I mean, they was going to pay Parsons. They've paid the receiver. They paid the quarterback. So I'm not saying it's a bad place to go. So I think they'll be fine in that way. It's going to be interesting because we said the other day when we was talking about Dallas how we thought they would finish, and me and Chris both I think said they could be an 8-win team, 9-10-win team, and we wouldn't be shocked if they won 10 or 11. But it's going to be in that mix, anywhere from probably 9 to 10, 11 wins. So I don't know if that changes for Chris or not. When losing Parsons, I guess it's possible because you don't think the pass rush is going to be as good if you lose Parsons. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And Chris, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think it makes Dallas better now. But also, I don't think it's going to hurt him. I don't know. It could hurt him quite a bit because you see how some of these teams have big pass rushers. Excuse me. Like Pittsburgh, for example, with TJ Watt. Look how much different their defense looks when TJ Watt's on the field or if he don't play. So you could have a big drop off on that defense. But with the player they picked up, I think they'll still be all right. But I do think this sets them up to make their team better in the future because, you don't know what those picks are going to be, but you do know the next 2 years you have 2 first-round picks. So if anything, even if say Green Bay ends up being good and Dallas ends up being pretty good and they're like middle, they're like the number 14 pick and the number 17 pick, you can put those 2 first-rounders together and move up in the draft and get you and get a player that can help you if you're somebody that you really like. I think they have Dak. It's two more years, and I could see them moving on from Dak after that. So this does set them up where if they do decide to move from Dak, if you want one of these quarterbacks coming out, you have capital where you can move up and get them if you're not up there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think it's kind of hard to say who won the trade until you see how Parsons performs there in Green Bay, and then you got to see what these picks end up turning into for Dallas. So I think it'll probably be a year or two before we really know how this works out for either team.
And the one thing I saw that, we talked about in our, group chat and everything like that, stuff I'd seen all around social medias, the whole thing of, oh, well, hey, if Trey Lance could get 3 first-round picks, how come Mike only got 2? Look, I don't know a lot of people who love that trade when it happened for either side. Hindsight being 2020, God, that was an awful trade for San Francisco. Imagine if they had, those picks back, who they would have gotten, and if they would have got a Super Bowl at this point.
And the caveat on that is they didn't trade Lance. They weren't trading for Lance. I know they used that pick on Lance, but they got the 3 first-round picks for the 3rd pick in the draft. Now,
right.
You know what I mean? So that's a little different than – I know that's who they went and selected with it, which was a terrible decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think if you were just had the player, you wasn't going to get I think you got the extra first-round pick because it was the draft pick.
Exactly. But, yeah, so, a lot of people said – I think this is actually close to the anniversary of the Herschel Walker deal. I know, I think there was some interwoven story in this where I think it was like maybe the team president or someone for Green Bay, like his father was involved in the deal. Just some kind of way that, somehow it's all connected, which I thought is always pretty cool. But we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, the NFL season kicks off, and fun part, circuit calendars, week 4, both these teams are going to be playing. So that's going to be a hell of a matchup there. Obviously, I mean, 2 of the more historic franchises really just in the NFL. But now you kind of add on this new piece of it to the rivalry that they've had forever. And it just makes it even better. So we'll see how this game, both their respective seasons go. Because like I said, it's going to be a very football heavy show. Obviously, with college kicking off and the NFL coming up here next week, we'll talk a little bit more about that as it gets closer. But we have to talk a little baseball because we have to. We're all big baseball fans here. My love for that is dying day by day at this point. But Kyle Schwarber made history as I grit my teeth through this. He is the 21st player in MLB history to have 4 home runs in a single game. He is also the 4th Phillies player to accomplish that feat. And just why not add more on top? He went 4 for 6, obviously all 4 being home runs, with a new Phillies record 9 runs batted in, as the Phillies just stomped the Braves 19-4. Also, just in some corresponding moves, I think the Braves earlier this afternoon optioned 2 of those players who pitched to AAA. So I'm not surprised. I looked at the box score and I was like, well, that sucks. We lost by 15, but I don't know who the hell these relievers are. I have no clue. I don't know. We might have got these guys from the local supermarket and just found them onto the field. But, I mean, obviously, a historic moment all in all. Like I said, 21 people have now done this, which is a very minuscule amount, especially with baseball, for how long it's been going on, how long records have been kept. So, I mean, we saw history. Sucks against my team, but hey, that's just how it goes sometimes. Tony, your thoughts on really just we'll talk more, more about Schwarber here and the hell of a season he's having. My God, 49 home runs now on the year. Is now 2nd in the National League. Look, we know his average isn't always going to be great, but it's a respectable 248. And he now leads he leads all of baseball, rather, in RBIs with 119, as well as 3rd in OPS, on base plus slugging, at 956. Because, look, we know whenever he hits it, it either goes out of the park or it goes for a double. That's pretty much what you're going to get with Schwarber. But, I mean, really just, your thoughts on the game last night with him, and also just kind of the year that he's having and also how it's helping Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, and they need it. Philadelphia, with their pitching struggling a little bit after losing Wheeler, they're going to need that big bat and other people to step up if Philadelphia wants to have a shot of making it to the World Series. So I know that's their goal. I love Schwarber. Matter of fact, I think he's going to be a free agent this year. So our hope, me and Chris' hope, is he's going to be a Cincinnati Red again. I know he liked it in Cincinnati a lot. He was in Cincinnati one time, and he likes Cincinnati.
No, he hadn't played in Cincinnati, but he's from
he's from
Ohio. He's from Ohio.
Yeah, he's from Middletown.
Okay, but he would like to play for Cincinnati. So me and Chris have got high hopes that maybe he's there this year. But you know how that goes. Hopes ain't always enough. But yeah, I like him. Do you guys think he's in the hunt for MVP?
I mean, you look at MVPs, right? You have that moment. You have a moment where you look at and say, that right there solidified it. Hell, why wouldn't this be his moment? I think I'm not saying he's going to win it. I don't know if he's going to get that, but I think he'll get a couple votes. I definitely believe that. Chris?
I think he should be in the running for it, but as of like 3 days ago, they had Ohtani as like minus 20,000 favorite for MVP. So, which I don't get how you can have him that big of a favorite at MVP over. I mean, you have Schwarber doing what he's doing. Look what Cal Raleig's doing there in Seattle as well. I mean, you have quite a few players having good years for Ohtani. I know, he started pitching again, but he hasn't been. It ain't like he's been great pitching. He had his best game pitching the other night. Was his best game pitching since he's been back pitching this year. Yeah, he's hitting the hell. I mean, he's one of the best hitters. So I can understand Ohtani being the favorite, but to be a minus 20,000 favorite with still like 20 something games left to me is kind of ridiculous. But on your thing about Schwarber, I love Schwarber. Schwarber played for IU in college. I've been a Schwarber fan for a long time. Then he went to Chicago. I'm not a Cubs fan, but I watched a lot of the Cubs, especially back then, because that's when they were going for the World Series and everything. But and I'm like Dad said, I'm hoping he's going to be a Red next year. But yeah, dude, and he's one of them guys. He gets hot. He can rattle off 4 or 5 in a row home runs in games like that. I got a chance to see him hit a bomb a few weeks ago in Cincinnati when I went and watched the Reds and Phillies play. He hit one, and as soon as it came off, the bat, it was a no doubt home run out in right field, upper deck, and so I got to see him hit a bomb there. But yeah, he's a hell of a hitter and one of the best hitters in baseball.
Yeah, and like I say, he's come a long way from his time, like I said, in Chicago. He was with Washington for a cup of coffee as well. And then he's really kind of made his home here in Philadelphia. Kind of like Bryce Harper in a way, someone who, he's been there, Bryce has, I think longer now at this point in Philadelphia than in Washington, which for me is just kind of, you blink and you miss it. Because it feels like that trade just went down, just a little while ago. I'm going to look at his career numbers real quick for Schwarber. And like I say, he's 32. He turned 32 back in March. So for that. But so currently, like I said, as of this recording on his career, guys, he's got over 1,000 hits, 1,029. He's got 771 runs batted in. He also has, they don't list the home runs here. Are you kidding me? His average, though, career average, only 232. And he has, here it is, 333 home runs to his name. That's a solid career. I'm not saying Cooperstown worthy or anything. I think the average is really what's going to kill him eventually. That, and the big thing for home run hitters is you got to get 500. That's kind of the if you hit this, then you're pretty much a lock for the most part, right? But he's still got, with the way he's hitting now, he's got a good chance to get 500. I think. Obviously, you hope he can get in the 360s to 370s next season. Then whenever he's 33, 34, he'll get to the 400 mark and hopefully continue that for a while. If he, obviously stays in good shape, stays healthy. But he's carved out a very solid career nonetheless, since he's, been in the league now for just around 10 years, coming up on it. So he has definitely made his mark. And one of the best power hitters, obviously, in the game today. You see, him, Pete Alonso for the Mets. Those are kind of the perennial ones. Obviously, you have a couple others, but just for their respective teams there. Also, we got Joe chiming in. What's going on, Joe? Hope you're doing well. All right, Chris, what you got?
As far as MVP, favorite for National League MVP is they did adjust it.
Okay, good. What do we got?
Ohtani's at -900, and then you got Schwarber at +500. So they don't have nobody else favored, even close to favored as Ohtani. American League, you have Judge at -160, and then Cal Raleigh at +125.
That would, so we're going to have some tight races.
American League race is a lot closer.
Yeah. Like I said, okay, bro. I think they are going to be. I think the AL is going to be a little bit tighter than the NL for sure. But it's not a runaway though for the NL. Like I said, I know you mentioned the odds here, but Ohtani. Look, and me and Jay have said this multiple times. Ohtani is a decent pitcher. He is not an all-star pitcher. He's not even an A pitcher. You know what I mean? He's got good stuff. But just numbers wise, it doesn't back it up. Plus the fact, like I said, he missed a whole year for both. And he just started getting back pitching, I think. So,
Yeah.
You're really just kind of looking at his batting. Look, he's a tremendous hitter. No question about that. But Schwarber, he's doing his thing with the bat. We know that he's very limited when it comes to defense. So that's kind of the yin and yang for that side. And for the AL, Aaron Judge does what Aaron Judge always does. He hits monster home runs, strikeout time or two. And Cal Raleigh, just what a great story he's had for out there in Seattle. Especially doing this as a catcher. You don't see that amount of power very often at all. He just did his 50th the other night, and we'll see how many. Does he get to 60? Does he get to 60, or even, of course, everyone mentioned 61, Roger Maris. Does he get to that number with, like we mentioned, about 20, 25 some odd games left? Chris, we'll go to you first.
I said the other day I think he's going to get probably 60. So I'm gonna stay right there. I think he's going to miss it getting to 61 by 1.
Okay. And Tony, what are your thoughts on this?
The other day when I predicted, I said 56. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to change.
Currently at 50 right now, which is tops in the league. We'll see how he does. But look, we don't like the Yankees, all three of us, so we're kind of secretly rooting for him. Plus, look, my whole thing is Seattle, in terms of just the team, right? I mean, they've been very middle ground for years and years and years. They haven't won the AL West, rather, I think since 2001. So it's been 25 years almost since they've won the division. And like I said, they've had great players or solid players over the years. Obviously, the Johnsons and the Griffeys back in the 90s, for God's sake, 2 decades ago. But you've had the Seagers and so on. You had the Suarez's. You had some solid players here and there. But I think it's great to see with the power bat here with Cal. I remember going into the season, a lot of people thought that, because they lost a few pieces. We know they have that tremendous pitching staff. And, now that you had, kind of his emergence as one of the best power hitting just players, let alone catchers in the game. And we'll just kind of talk about this real quick. Is how they're trending right now. Are they going to overtake Houston here at the end of the season for the West title? Currently, they are 2 games behind them at the moment. In their last 10 ball games, the Astros are 5-5, while Seattle is 4-6. So they're pretty much blow for blow right now. I'll win a game, you win a game, I lose one, you lose one, back and forth for the last 10. As we get closer and closer towards the end of the season, Tony, we'll start off with you.
Yeah, both teams have been about the same. I'm going to say Houston's going to hang on to the division by 1 game.
1 game? Okay. Chris, do you think it's going to be 1 game? Do you think it's going to be closer, or do you think it's going to be more?
I think Seattle's going to win that division. I know they've both been playing about the same, like you said, but I think what makes me lean towards Seattle is they have the better pitching staff right now. With Houston having some of their pitchers hurt and stuff, I think Seattle's pitching is going to be the key coming down the stretch. So I think Seattle is going to get them by a game or 2.
Yeah, and they very well could. Looking at the standings real quick, just going to do a recap. We're going to do wild card here because that's where one of these teams will pretty much fall to if they don't win. But right now, we know, look, the AL's got kind of a murderer's row of teams right now who are all just clicking, who all have, very respectable records. Right now, it's the East. The AL East is really what's hot. Obviously, we know right now the Blue Jays are at the top, which that's still kind of wild for me to say because you don't hear it very much. You haven't heard it in a while. So the Blue Jays are at the top, followed, of course. Boston is in second, 75-60 on the season. They're the first AL wildcard, up 2.5 games on the New York Yankees, who are in that second wildcard spot. And then the third one, you see the Seattle Mariners right there, 72-62, followed up by the Kansas City Royals, Texas Rangers 4.5 back, and we'll just throw the Cleveland Guardians in here just because at 5. Her teams who can probably, I'd say, have the best chances at getting it. Obviously, we know Cleveland is at the tail end of that at this moment. And for the NL, we'll just go ahead and roll with this one here. Chicago, the Cubs right there, they're up front, followed by the Padres, second one. The Mets are the third wild card. And as you guys mentioned, the Reds are in the 4th spot, 4 games back, followed up by the Giants at 6, Diamondbacks 6.5, and also Cardinals 6.5 on that one. So a little bit more of a gap there for the National League side of things. And just your main standings, as we mentioned earlier, the Blue Jays are in top in the East, followed up by the Central. The Tigers are, feels like days away at this point from just kind of wrapping that one up in the Central out there for the AL. Houston's up 2 games, as we previously mentioned. The Philadelphia Phillies are up 5 on the Mets here in the NL East. The Brewers have a 6.5 game lead over the Chicago Cubs, who are also, I mean, hey, the Cubs have had a very good season too. It's just, with how well Milwaukee's done, they kind of got undershot, or you didn't get a whole lot of look at them. But they have a good 76-58 record right now. And then the West, the Dodgers up 2 games on the Padres to close that one out. So that is your baseball standings. We'll see how everything shifts over the weekend. And, of course, on the holiday on Monday. Well, guys, it is time. It is time. I hope you have a 24-pack ready in the fridge. Hope you have your favorite wing spot or pizza place on speed dial. And I hope you have a comfy couch. I really hope you do. Because college football, it's back. It's finally back. Look, it started a little bit earlier for some schools, but for, the whole nation, this is the start of the college football weekend. It's great to have some games played last night, believe it or not, still on Thursday. You got Friday night games tonight, but we all know Saturday, that's where all the, the tremendous action, you got the Ohio State game, Texas game, so that'll be fun to watch. But we are finally back, boys. College football is here. Let's just kind of go a general talk. I know we already saw an upset before a lot of people even got up. USF, the Bulls, got the 34-7 win over the number 25 ranked Boise State Broncos. Like I said, it's an upset, but as Tony mentioned earlier to me, it doesn't really feel like an upset because of Boise's ranked where they are because of mostly, let's just say, the talent of Ashton Jeanty. And we saw the offense when it was last year. You saw that early on to start the season. So, Chris, let's just kind of get your thoughts overall on college football being back and any games you got penciled in this weekend. Obviously, like I said, IU, obviously I know that's on your radar, but any other games that you want to look out for or watch?
The games last night was pretty good. I watched some of the South Florida game. They dominated that game pretty much from the start. Boise State kind of reminded me of TCU a couple of years ago. TCU went to that national championship game. I know Boise State didn't make a national championship game, but they had that big year last year with Jeanty and made the playoffs. And then the next year they were ranked real high, and then they ended up getting beat by Colorado. And it was kind of the same thing with Boise State. I thought they were ranked because of what they done last year, and I actually picked South Florida at the +5.5 yesterday to win the game as well. I thought Nebraska looked good last night. Their defense looked pretty good for the most part, other than a couple drives, and they let Cincinnati get back in that game there toward the end. But other than that, I thought Nebraska's young quarterback, that Raiola, looked pretty good last night. So it's going to be interesting to see how Nebraska does when they get in the Big Ten play. Got some games tonight. There ain't really no big games that really stand out to me tonight. Well, about the only one that could be a good game would be Georgia Tech and Colorado, which I think Georgia Tech's going to win that game. I like Georgia Tech at the -4.5. But as far as this weekend, you got the big Ohio State-Texas game, which a bunch of money must have came in on Texas last night and early this morning because now Texas is a 1.5-point favorite. They've been a 1.5-point underdog for the last week and a half or so. That's flipped on the money line. It's basically a pick 'em. They have Texas, I think, at -116, and Ohio State at like -110 or something like that. So they basically got it as a pick 'em money line, but they do have Texas favored. I like Ohio State in that game basically because they're at home. We don't know much about either one of the quarterbacks for them two teams. I mean, we know who Arch Manning is, but we haven't got to see him play a whole lot. He played a little bit last year, so this is going to be his first real big game. And then the same thing for that Julian Sain for Ohio State. I mean, he was a highly touted recruit, got recruited to Alabama, left Alabama when Saban retired, and transferred to Ohio State last year. So they're real high on him. But this is going to be his first college football game. Like, it's going to be, you know what I mean? And you're walking out there against the number one team, rated team in the country. So it's going to be interesting to see how the young quarterbacks handle the pressure tomorrow. Interesting to see what IU looks like. We have they picked up a real top quarterback recruit in Fernando. I think it's Mendoza, if I remember. I think his last name, but he played for Cal last year. Had a good season for Cal. Georgia was trying to get him this year. There was a lot of the big SEC teams was really trying to get him out of the transfer portal. and he went to IU. So they got us ranked 20th. We don't play a tough game, or it shouldn't be a tough game. We're playing Old Dominion, so it's not like we're playing one of the top schools this week, but it still would be nice to kind of see what we look like after the big season we had last year. And then I'm looking forward to Sunday night, Notre Dame and Miami, Catholics versus the Convicts rematch. So that's going to be fun to see that game. And then I'm not going to lie, I'm looking forward to Monday night to see what North Carolina looks like with Bill Belichick in college football. So it should be a good weekend of some college football.
Yeah, I think so there too. Tony, just your thoughts on, every other basically college football team getting back at it this weekend. A lot of already just week one, a lot of big ranked games in, top 25, but even more so top 10.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for this Ohio State-Texas game. I agree with Chris. I like Ohio State at home. Also got Alabama taking on Florida State on Saturday. Alabama ranked 8th. I'll agree. Be watching that game Sunday night, Notre Dame and Miami. Another game that Chris brought up yesterday that is interesting because he said he'd definitely take the points. He actually said it might be an upset, that he thinks Ball State's got a chance to beat Purdue this weekend at Purdue. So I'm definitely going to take a look at that. But them are the games that are kind of interesting me. And yeah, I want to see what North Carolina looks like against TCU on Monday night too.
Definitely going to be checking out the Ball State game against Purdue because Ball State's literally like 5 minutes from where about both our houses, probably five minutes at the most. So it's always nice when they get a chance to play some of the bigger schools. And Ball State wasn't terrible last year. I know Purdue only won one game last year. Both teams have new coaches and brought in a lot of new players as well. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think it's like a 15-16 point spread or something. Yeah. I think that's too much, but I do think Ball State has a chance to pull off the upset. So yeah, I think that game starts at noon as well. IU plays at 2:00 tomorrow.
Okay, I didn't know that. So yeah, I'll check that out after the Texas Ohio State game.
Another game here too, I see that we didn't mention. It is going to be a matchup here, top 10 teams. We've got Clemson, number 4 seed, going up against LSU with the Tigers. ACC versus SEC. A little bit of just some action there. I'm curious to how this one's going to go. Battle of two great coaches, as we know, and we'll see how the young players can do. Who's going to step up and whose name we're not going to know going into the game, but really know about coming out of the fact. How do we feel on that one? Who's going to get the upper edge? Is it going to be the ACC or the SEC? We'll go with you first, Chris.
I think Clemson's going to win this game. I think Cade Klubnik's going to have a big season this year. I think Clemson's going to go on a pretty good run. I'm not saying they're going to win a national championship. I think they're going to make the playoffs again like they did last year, but I think this time they'll make a run in the playoffs. Klubnik is a good quarterback. I think he'll make a difference there, and I think their defense will be a lot better this year. Last year they'd got a new defensive coordinator. He's been there. They've made some changes on their roster as well. So I think Clemson's going to have a big year. Not that LSU's going to be bad or anything, but I think Clemson. I like Clemson in this game.
All right, Tony, your thoughts?
Yeah, Clemson's I think rated 4th, like you said. I think LSU's 9th. LSU's had trouble in the last 2 or 3 years in the first game of the season. But that being said, I wasn't real impressed with Clemson last year. I know they're probably better this year, but I think LSU's going to get off to a good start this year, and I'm going to go with LSU in this game.
LSU is 0-3 in season openers under Brian Kelly.
Yes, yeah, he is. So I think he's going to fix that this weekend. He's going to get a win.
They buck that trend. We'll see what happens with that one. Just kind of some other games. Chris, you mentioned too, Catholics and Convicts going back at it again. Miami, of course, and Notre Dame. That'll be a good matchup there. So I'm excited to see. But we got, of course, Lee Corso. He's having his one final college countdown show tomorrow, celebrating just, he's going to pack it up, retire, and enjoy the rest of his life away from the television cameras. Going to get one final headdress to put on. They're going to be at the Ohio State and Texas game. So I mean, I'm sure that's probably going to do record numbers, television wise, just because, I mean, look, Corso's been around for 30 plus years. I mean, for forever. Legend, obviously, we know his health has taken a turn for the worse in recent seasons, but, he gets kind of a farewell here with his last show, Kirk Herbstreit and the gang. So that'll be emotional watch, but, a proper send off for a legend there with Lee Corso. Of course, Pat McAfee is going to be doing some work as well. Of course, as we all know, you guys know him and love him out there in Indy, and all the other great action we'll get. And it's already started off, but that we're really going to get it rolling this weekend. Here locally, Georgia, they're playing Marshall. Should be an easy win. Not to sneeze about. Chris, as you mentioned earlier, Georgia Tech, they're taking on Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. It's going to be interesting to see also Colorado. They're not ranked, but now a lot of people are going to say, all right, here's the test here for Deion. And now that both his sons are out of the team or off the team, how can he do now with a fresh batch of recruits, right? We know he had his guys kind of early on. Whenever he first took over, he got the new group in. But now, since his, the quarterback was Shador, he's gone, and Shiloh, who I think is still looking for a team right now. Now they're both away from the program. And also, of course, Travis Hunter, who's going to, hopefully going to make a splash with the Jaguars this season. How can he do with a new crop of recruits here? And I mean, look, I don't think anyone's going to say they're going to be a national champion, but do you think do you think the Buffaloes will end the year in the top 25? Just super easy, super quick yes or no with this one. Tony, we'll go to you.
No, they won't be in the top 25. I think they'll be lucky to be 500.
And Chris, do you share that same thought there, or different?
Yeah, I don't think they'll be in the top 25. I'm not sure what their record will be, but yeah, I don't think they'll be in the top 25. They do have a good quarterback recruit. It'll be interesting to see what he looks like as this year. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. You just never know how a guy's going to translate his first year in college. So that'll be kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't think they'll get up to the top 25. Okay. I think they've lost too much in losing Hunter and Sanders and some of the guys they lost.
Yeah, and we'll see how they do here locally. Gotta give a shout out to my alma mater, West Georgia. Got their first win of the season last night. 1-0. They beat Samford, who they beat last year to start the season. They won 34-7 last night. So I was proud to wake up and see the news for the boys there in Carrollton, Georgia, getting the work done.
How mad do you guys think Fox is? Because this Ohio State Texas game is on Fox. So Fox big noon kickoff will be there, making its debut with Dave Portnoy, their big signing they just signed. And guess who else is going to be there? And it's not even an ESPN game. College Game Day is going to be at Ohio State, Texas as well. And it's a Fox game. It's not even an ESPN game. Yeah. And so Fox isn't happy about that because and not only is a College Game Day there, it's Lee Corso's last College Game Day going up against Dave Portnoy's college or big noon kickoff debut. So Fox couldn't have been too happy about that.
Here's how I think it's going to look, Chris. You guys work in wrestling, so whenever you get the big star from the form, who used to be in WWE, who comes for autographs, and you got the local guys. You know how the lines are for the autographs. That's how it's going to look, I think, on Saturday. As I think they're going to get some attention, obviously, because a lot of people like just the coverage they give, as well as Dave Portnoy, who's making his debut over there. But look, let's be real, everyone's going to go over there with Corso
and McAfee.
You got all the theatrics, you know what I mean? And also too, just kind of talking television stuff. I think I saw someone tweet that ESPN's kind of coming like a Barstool Junior in the sense of that they're going to be doing some more work with Dave and whatnot, and also Fox. They also got the Taylor Llewellyn podcast with Bustin' with the Boys. They announced that the other day that they're going to be doing some more coverage stuff as well. So we're really kind of getting into a new era for television. In general, but let alone analysts and how they're going to portray their news, whether it's through. As opposed to just, kind of showing highlights, the more traditional stuff. But now they're going with the social media aspect for sure. I mean, really digging into it now with their a lot more so like their correspondents like that. The guys who are, they've always had former players, but now it's former players with their own podcast spinoffs that they're bringing onto the channels and stuff like that. They're hiring sideline reporters who are, just TikTok stars. So that's just kind of how the game's being played right now for the media rights. And like you said, Chris, if I'm Fox, I'm a little bit pissed week one just with that happening. That it's like, damn, y'all are gonna be here too.
And busting with the boys is a good pickup for ESPN. That show's better than about any studio show, any of the talk shows they have on ESPN right now, other than McAfee. I would rather watch, but I prefer Busting with the Boys over First Take.
Now, Busting with the Boys
First Take and over Get Up.
Now, Busting with the Boys are going to be on ESPN.
Yeah, I don't know when, but they just announced that the other day, so I don't know the exact schedule for that.
That's who was on. Will Compton was on McAfee yesterday, talking about it quite a bit.
Okay,
but yeah, they're having more. Like I said, it's really becoming just ESPN more of a podcast network. It's starting to become, if you look at it, because with McAfee, like I said, his show, they started off doing, all those podcasts. They started off with Barstool, coincidentally, is when he first went after he ended his career in Indy, and then he, did his own thing for a while, and then he got picked up by ESPN and whatnot a couple of years ago. Same with Llewellyn, right? They retired from the league. They started their own show, and they went to Barstool, and they're going. It's like the Barstool is kind of like the minor leagues of this point, and then you get promoted and you go up to ESPN or Fox or wherever you feel like. So that'll be interesting to see with that. But yeah, just going to be a different feel this season, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the great coverage and different takes that we get. So it'll be a fun time. But guys, let's get final thoughts. Get out of here for the weekend, the extended weekend, and we'll get out of here. So Tony, anything you got on your mind?
Yeah, like I said, I'm excited for that Texas-Ohio State game. Also excited for Sunday, about 2:00 in the afternoon, I believe. We got Clash in Paris, WWE. So I'm looking forward to that, and getting excited for next Thursday in NFL.
Yeah, and Chris, anything on your mind here for the weekend you want to get off before we get out of here?
I just hope the Reds get off to a good start tonight against the Cardinals. We're only 4 back. We were down to a half game back last week, and then got swept by the Dodgers. That kind of hurt us, but hopefully we can get back on track, win the series this weekend against the Cardinals. And but yeah, other than that, that's about it. Looking forward to college football this weekend, and like Dad said, NFL next weekend. Get to see Indiana Jones make his debut as a Colt.
Yeah. I'm about to say, I don't know if you guys saw the video where they were announcing the team captains for the Colts today, and it showed they were announcing all the players who were named captains, and it showed Daniel Jones, and there was you could see someone pointed out Zaire Franklin, who was just dejected. He's like, yeah, sure, congrats, go to work, man. So like I said, we'll talk more NFL obviously next week as we get closer and closer to that, but we're giving college this shine this weekend, rightfully so. And like I said, everyone's going to be sitting at home watching it and enjoying it. And also just going to throw this in here before we leave. Joe commented saying, what happened to Chase? He's still crying over the Parsons trade. Jay seemed happy. I don't know about y'all. The reaction he gave us is Jay was just, yeah, we'll take it. Oh, sure. I love it. It's kind of like if you're not with us, then, I don't care for you anymore type of deal. Well, because like I said, whenever Correa left the Astros, it's like, oh, forget that guy. Bum ankle. Yeah, overpaid. He goes back, hey, welcome home, buddy.
I was gonna say Jay might be saying that now, but next or on Thursday, if Cowboys get killed by the Eagles and their defense looks terrible, he's gonna be going crazy.
Oh, Kenny Clark, you fat SO,
Yeah.
I can see it now. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with all that as we get closer and closer to it. Well, hey, for Tony and Chris Gonzalez, guys, thanks so much for coming on the show here today. Hope you guys have a great weekend, extended weekend, as we mentioned. Watch some football, enjoy some wrestling as well, whatever you prefer. We'll be back on Tuesday. We're going to take Monday off, obviously. So we'll be back on Tuesday, same time, same place, here on the Elite Sports Entertainment Network. Find us in our link tree in the description. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Be safe, and we'll see you again on the next episode.